Can you tell people about what the response has been from the Alabama Department of Corrections, and perhaps get into maybe a few of the methods the ADOC is trying to use in order to break the strike so that uh, pressure is brought to bear. I mean, this is normally what authorities would do in order to prevent these work stoppages from continuing.
I think that's right. Yeah. First, a couple of things. I mean, it's been remarkable the amount of communication that the Department of Corrections has released. It's not obviously a ton, but usually departments of corrections are very quiet and try to ignore or pretend that things like this are not happening in their prisons when they are, or downplay them, make them seem smaller. You had on the first day of the strike, the governor released a statement through a spokesperson, basically acknowledging that the strike was underway in all of the major facilities. Um, and they immediately moved to what they call, very euphemistically, a holiday meal schedule, um, which basically means, at best, right, the way that it should work is like bag lunches, right, a couple meals instead of three. Um, but in reality, what that has looked like has been anything from prisoners just getting like a piece of bread and a piece of cheese, um, maybe a little bit of fruit on like a, canned fruit, uncooked hot dogs. Um, and I mean, one thing that we saw was a potato salad sandwich, which one reporter in Alabama joked like that the ADOC had, created a new meal. But the, this is pretty dire actually, because prisons have a basic responsibility to provide like nutritional, it's kind of a joke to say that, right? But it is real in terms of people's health needs and dietary restrictions. Um, you have a lot of prisoners who have diabetes and things like that that really they've developed because of how bad prison food is. Um, but they have dietary needs, and for the state to not meet those, either through the meeting of like what's required for specific prisoners, but also just from basic understanding of like caloric intake that's necessary for prisoners, for anybody, and they're not doing that. So there's actually, interestingly, I don't know if it's a lawsuit, it's a motion, that is being filed by prisoners along with legal advocates to, it's called a motion to intervene to try to address that situation. Um, because basically the analysis of the prisoners, is that the prison authorities are using, this justification of they don't have enough labor to produce the meals because the prisoners normally do that, to say, you know, that we have to do this modified schedule, but the modified schedule is intentionally, basically trying to make hunger the reason that prisoners would stop the strike.